3 months ago, I made a video where I ranked indie animated pilots from 2025. I only went through about 30 of them, and at the end of that video, I said that there'd be a part 2. I linked the playlist of pilots I collected and told you guys to let me know if I had missed anything. Initially, I only had to watch 30 more, but thanks to you guys, I ended up having to watch not 40, not 50, but 80 pilots. Wow. With how long this took, 80 turned to 69, nice, as some of them either got deleted, unlisted, or I removed some of them myself because they turned out to not actually be animated. However, while making this video, I ran into 2 problems. 1, I couldn't figure out how to rank all of these, and 2, a lot of what I wrote down felt very samey. So for the sake of mine and your time, this is going to be structured a little bit differently. I'll be going from C tier to S tier, and S tier will be my top 10 favorite pilots. I'll be speeding through a good chunk of these too, since a lot of these pilots are either short or I just don't have much to say on them. So, with that being said, please enjoy this 3-month project of mine, and do try to check out some of the pilots listed here. Starting with C tier, we've got Pentagon. I don't really know what's going on, to be honest, but the main character does a cool backflip, so yeah. It's under a minute long. Fruits, ghoulish behavior. An adopted kid named Apollo is behaving badly at school and is suggested to attend the circus to socialize. The art and character designs are nice here, but I'm not a fan of the swoosh sound effect they do with the hands.
I'm sure it's nothing we can't handle.
I'm also curious on the whole adopted situation thing, because they made it sound interesting and then didn't really elaborate on it, unfortunately.
He's someone's child, obviously, but he's not ours.
We adopted him.
Illegally.
Unrealville, where a girl gets bullied and then kisses the bully for some reason. I have many questions with this pilot. Why is Frisk Undertale here? Why are people so freaky? And why does this have a 40-second outro? And why do the next 2 episodes also have the same outro for 2 minutes? Out of tune, Vilko and Mark begin their first year of high school at Melody School. Things take a turn once they realize they will have to spend the rest of their school years in a class they hate, with unfunny classmates and a dumb teacher. The animation and voice acting is nice for the most part, but the dialogue is a bit bland. Which is unfortunate because the premise itself is already simple, so the dialogue has to be more creative to make up for that, you know? The void. A bunch of objects talk to each other and then they get sucked into a void. The animation's nice and the ending was interesting, but there's a lot of dialogue with a bunch of different characters in the beginning that goes on throughout the whole thing. Maybe this is a common thing for object shows, but I'm not into that kind of stuff, so yeah. Kriller equal. A boy named Jonas Kriller and his family get blessed to visit the city of Bismuth, a city with all your happiest memories, but everyone in his family mysteriously goes missing except for his cousin, and they need to find them. This is overall a nice pilot, and I find the concept to be pretty interesting. I'm curious on what exactly it takes for a family to be blessed. My only complaint is that the main character confuses me. He doesn't care about his family going missing for whatever reason, and when his cousin tells him to lock the fuck in, he decides to punch her for some reason.
I don't like your attitude! Eh? Nani?
Other than that, I think it's a neat pilot, and it has potential. Happy Land is Dead, an indie show about a super cool cat with a somewhat cool life. I think we have different definitions of cool, because this has gore at the last 20 seconds of it. I really don't understand what this is supposed to be, because it's super silly and funny for half of it, and then you get this. It got a laugh out of me, but I don't think it was supposed to. This is a very confusing and short pilot. Fools of the City. Antisocial man gets paid $1,000 by his friends to go to the beach together, and then they get girlfriends, but oh no, the girlfriends were actually minors. I wish my friends paid me $1,000 to hang out with me. I like the voice acting and drawings, but that sure was a direction to take with the plot. The Chick Con Show. Join Chick Con and his family as society falls into complete and utter chaos. Despite the simple premise written down, I was confused the entire time watching this. A huge reason for that is the audio mixing. One person is talking at a normal volume and everyone else is extremely quiet. So if this gets continued, try to get better at that. Also, subtle foreshadowing, a lot of the pilots in this video have audio mixing issues, so be prepared for me saying that over and over again. Morningstar. Ember vents to something while unaliving it, and things get tragic. I like the pig character and the voice acting, but the dialogue is extremely corny. I get that this is meant to be a scene of him venting to another person, but oh my god, he keeps going and going about everything. Subtlety goes a long way. And also, this pilot doesn't really give me a good idea of what the show overall would be about, unfortunately. The 7 Jewels of Arthalon. 2 poor guys are sent on a mission by the princess to find 7 jewels that together will give them lots of money. It's pretty short, but I like the premise and the little song this has too. The art could use some work, but other than that, it's a nice pilot. Funky Man. 2 guys move to a new flat. That's it. It's simple, short, and silly, but it had a pretty abrupt ending. Space Travels. I don't really understand what this pilot is about even after rewatching it. It doesn't really do a good job of explaining who these characters are or what they do. The audio mixing could also use some work in the beginning because I genuinely can't make out what the main character is saying. The art and animation is pretty nice though. The Dogster Show. Meet Dogster and his mates. They work on cars, go to the pub, and not much else. Yeah, that's about it. Not much else happens in this pilot. Funnily enough, it starts with a message saying that this isn't for easily offendable people. This confused me because I found nothing wrong, and then I realized, wait, the characters are British. I get it. So, watch out for that, guys. Sunnyland. The character designs, art, and voice acting are nice, but it's overall a bit confusing, especially since it establishes early on that the viewer is in this cartoon world and that our name is Charlie and we're looking for our uncle who's been missing for 30 years, but this never gets brought up again later, and none of the characters besides the son at the beginning even acknowledges the viewer's presence. So it feels unnecessary, especially with the description having notes from Charlie. Ordinary Triangle Life. The story follows Imnu and the other triangles around him as they lead ordinary lives until they uncover various mysteries and see their lives change. Along the way, the triangles will have to overcome challenges. I'm sorry, but I didn't like this a lot. The audio mixing could use improvement and the voice acting is pretty stiff. I do like that to combat evil triangles, the Bermuda Triangle was formed. That was funny. I appreciate that. I guess like my main question after finishing this is why triangles? If it's for simplicity's sake, that is fine, but you'd have to make the designs a bit more diverse because a couple of them look very similar to each other and some accessories or just a different number of eyes would help. Toon Turf. Riggy Runky, a hybrid between a monkey and a rabbit, moves into a weird new town to be a hero and becomes a terrorist. I have some things to say about this pilot. For one, I respect the amount of work that was put into this, but it's got problems. While I like the paper cutout style it's got going on, the camera is almost always moving, which makes this really tiring to watch, especially with how long it is. The pacing feels a bit too fast or slow at times, and some of the jokes just don't land at all. The main character also just sucks a lot, and not in a good or interesting way.
Here, let me help you up.
Smash.
What?
Shiva, sorry for smashing into you.
Oh, it's okay. So, your name?
Riggy.
This is my boyfriend, Dolph. Nice to meet you.
Do you have a concussion or something?
This overall feels really edgy, and I may not be the target audience for this, but improvements can be made. That's all for C tier. Now we'll be moving on to B tier, starting with Homestuck. Who cheered? People have already talked about this pilot a lot, so I'll just quickly say that while the animation's nice, the line work feels a bit inconsistent at times. The pilot is pretty fast-paced, characters talk over each other often, and it's hard to understand what's being said or what's even going on at times. I've never read Homestuck, but from what I've seen, it really doesn't need an adaptation. But if you were going to do one, I feel like a video game would be the best option. An animated series feels a little odd. Heathens, an action dark fantasy about demons, devotion, and an era coming to an end. As hell rumbles with the threat of an infernal war, follow a crew of 3 ride-or-die demonic friends as they navigate the underworld, chasing meaning through a whirlwind of bounties, brawls, and high-stake heists. So right off the bat, the pilot doesn't convey this premise whatsoever. What actually happens is 3 elf-eared friends try to capture a hellhound so one of them can tame it. The pilot never even implies that there is a threat of an infernal war, or that they're even in hell to begin with. Granted, they're chasing hellhounds, but that wasn't enough for me to know that, hey, this is hell, especially when it looks like they're in a normal desert for the most part. The characters themselves don't even look demonic whatsoever. They look more like elves or half-elves. The character designs could also use some work in general. The main 3's body types are very similar, and their clothes don't help much in giving them more diverse silhouettes. Another problem I have is with the hair. I can tell that whoever designed them really likes doing a specific hairstyle and tried their best to diversify it with each character, but it could be better, especially Aura's. I feel like hers is annoying to consistently draw, and honestly, it looks cluttered a lot of the time. But the animation in this is really great, stunning even, so that's something. I truly hope that if this does get more episodes, it can be improved upon. Because other than the art problems I have and the premise not really being shown too well, the dialogue is also a bit bland, unfortunately. Phonehead Emotia. Gleeheart is a princess from Emotia, a world made of human emotions, who gets sent to Earth to heal humans corrupted from negative emotions with the help of her new human friend Pepper. Overall, this is pretty cute and is very similar to Star vs. the Forces of Evil and Miraculous Ladybug. Unfortunately, it's really fast, which makes it hard to enjoy. It sucks too, because I really like the voice acting for Pepper and Gleeheart, but the audio mixing doesn't do them justice whatsoever. But the art style is cute, and the animation's very nice and consistent. If the audio mixing gets fixed, then this would be a really good show for kids, and I personally would like watching more of it. Forces of Harmony. It follows a unicorn named Bleeding Heart, applying to be Princess Twilight Sparkle's personal student. This is pretty cute and I like the art. My only complaint is that after the halfway mark, it's a bit boring and there's parts where the characters are too quiet or they have a problematic volume difference. Other than that, it's a good pilot. Lucid Dreams. A girl named Okiro falls asleep and gets sent to Lucid Dreams, a place where people are tasked with different assignments to overcome mental problems. The art and designs here are pretty cute, but once again, it's hard to hear the voices. The show also introduces a lot of characters and it's hard to remember them. Granted, it's hard to seamlessly introduce a large main cast, so if this ends up getting more episodes, I'd recommend on focusing on 1 or 2 characters besides Okiro each episode. Kinda like how the Amazing Digital Circus works. The Lake Effect. When a mysterious illness starts affecting the local wildlife, 2 teens and a talking goat must explore the realm of the supernatural to find a cure before the disease spreads. The premise itself is nice, and so are the character designs, art, and animation in this. Unfortunately, the voice acting feels very stiff and monotone, and so are the expressions. The characters also barely question anything around them, which is really odd considering that they go to hell. But honestly, if you just fix those few things, this has a lot of potential to be great. Spiral Park. The pilot itself is about a mime named Pantomime trying to get cotton candy. Anytime she mimes something, it's only visible to her, and because of that, she doesn't understand why no one takes her seriously. Which is kind of sad, but this is a pretty lighthearted and creative pilot. My only complaint is that the VHS effect they used for this is a bit too strong, but the creator is already aware of that and will lower it in the future, thankfully. I'm assuming the web series would generally just be episodic adventures of her day-to-day life, and it's nice. I like it. Curse You. That's the name of the show, but the name of this episode is We Hungry, and it follows 2 friends on their way to a Christmas dish party. This is a test minisode, but overall I like it. I love the art style and overall direction this has with the art. For a test minisode, this is pretty good. My only complaint is that till now I still don't know the names of the 2 main characters. Street Friends. Follow Alec and his friends while they go on wacky adventures. However, Alec struggles to enjoy his day as he runs into his bully, Jake. This is nicely animated. It reminds me of old Eddsworld and Serpello, and I like the intro too. It's got some funny bits, but it relies heavily on memes, and because of that, some parts don't land as much. The audio mixing could also be better. The ending got me interested though. I won't say what it is, you gotta watch it yourself, but it's pretty interesting. You Are Not Here. It follows Aster, Maris, and Einar, who are trapped in a strange dimension of infinite offices with strange rules. But none of them remember how they got there, and they are certainly not alone in that place. This is a scrapped and unfinished pilot, so we only get to meet one of the main trio, but it's still really cool despite being only 2 minutes long. This is made by the same artist that made the Indigo pilot, so it's not a surprise that the animation and storyboards here are really great. I'm very intrigued by what's going on, and the sound design, atmosphere, and tone are really nice too. Gizmo and Emery, a show about a robot and an alien going on fun adventures. Overall, this is pretty cute, and I think it'd make for a nice show for kids. I don't have much else to say on this other than the snake has my favorite voice. Crafty Cottage. Prepare to see the amazing adventures of Parker and Rowan as they fight off enemies who attack their town and their friendships. The expressions, character acting, and character designs are pretty cute, but one guy's voice is way too low. It's overall silly and cute, and I like it. Let Me Be a Star. The story follows Andis, a rabbit boy who dreams of becoming a wizard like his father, but the kingdom of Zigala forbids it simply because he's a half-blood. It's overall pretty cute, and I like the song this has in the middle of it. However, there are some technical errors. The aspect ratio changes a lot in the first few minutes, which is pretty annoying. Sometimes the background is blurred and sometimes it's not, and this can happen within seconds of each other. Shots change a bit too much at times, and the perspective could also be improved. If you're drawing a character with a background, I've heard it's best to draw the full body, even if the final shot is going to be cropped, because it gives you a better idea of where the feet are and the general perspective of the whole thing. I've tried this out myself, and it helps. Aside from the technical errors, this is pretty good. Mr. Vessel. Join brothers Xander and Axel on a journey to discover the bonds of brotherhood. As a new foe emerges, their relationship faces its ultimate test, forcing them to unite in a high-stakes, action-packed adventure that will push them to their limits. This has surprisingly pretty good writing, music, and sound design for the most part. The voices felt too quiet compared to the music most of the time, and I feel like there was slight clipping on one guy's part. The animation and visuals are nice, but a lot of scenes are too bright, saturated, or overexposed. I know it's going for that colorful and techie vibe, and in that case, I'd highly recommend looking at Steven Universe for reference, or just having a fresh pair of eyes to look over your shots. But again, I really like this, and I found it surprisingly relatable as an older sibling that also goes through similar problems as these two. Vigilantes, I don't know how to say that. In this uberlastic goo tactic episode, Steve and Crimple have to capture a weird little furry girl named Thief who has no future importance. Hijinks ensue. It's pretty silly, and the animation and character designs are nice. The intro's pretty long though, and it has flashing images at one part, so do be careful watching this. Another thing I'll say is that one of the characters' names is Crimple, and it sounds like the other characters say cripple throughout the episode. I myself am having trouble pronouncing that clearly, so please change that name. Brotherhood. Welcome to Brotherhood, a show that follows 4 schoolboys as they traverse the weird and wacky world that is modern Britain. Britain, not Britain, Britain. Basically, imagine Ed's World, but they're in year 8 and British. Jokes aside, this is actually pretty funny, and I like it a lot. I was entertained the whole way through, and that's pretty good considering that this is about 20 minutes long. The art of voice acting is good too, and I really recommend giving it a watch. 3K views is criminal for how much work was put into this, and the quality. Rent Day. Kaori tries to get out of paying rent. Short, cute, and silly. I like it a lot. There's 2 more episodes, and for each one, there's a different animator, and I like that a lot. They're short, silly, sweet, and deserve more views, so do check them out. Soul the Lost Son. Soul's alien father's soldiers come to Earth to try and take him back to his father to help conquer Earth. Soul refuses and unlocks his powers as he fights back. This is really well animated, especially for Flip-A-Clip. The animation's pretty consistent and clean, I like the art style, and the story is interesting. My only gripe is that the voice acting is pretty flat and quiet, but other than that, this is nice. Kinda reminds me of Teen Titans and She-Ra, the reboot. Heaven Inc. Heaven Inc. is about the misadventures of 2 low-ranking angel janitors working in a tunnel, the original light at the end of the tunnel, who work hard to climb the career ladder and achieve something meaningful. Good animation, character designs, and voice acting. It's pretty funny and I liked watching it a lot. I'm surprised that this was mostly made by one person. Inkly Inc. Welcome to an office job where all of the employees are living office supplies. In this documentary-style film, we get to know the characters as they explain their day-to-day tasks working at the company, Inkly Incorporated. Basically the office if everyone was office supplies. I like the character designs and voice acting a lot, and this is also a senior thesis film, so I hope this got a good grade. The Toon Pilot. A struggling artist creates a superhero character who comes to life the next day and tries to save the town from a villain. Not even 30 seconds in, and I fell in love with it already. The fake smoke, the picking up the phone but the call thing doesn't go away, it's peak comedy. I like this a lot. It combines live action with 2D animation, and I like it. I also love that they had to write down, note this channel does not endorse or encourage smoking. We used a fake cigarette prop. What about the gun? Was that real? Do you endorse gun violence? Contorted. Ogmore sets off an event that collides worlds never meant to be together. The resulting Planescape-styled multiverse collision causes reality to unravel. A group of unlikely heroes, Melee, Flame, James, and Jenna, strive to reach the core of the catastrophe. Torn, however, as they find the connection points, they quickly realize they must navigate twisted realities and halt the process before all of the worlds collapse into one broken one. I don't think I'm the target audience for this, but even then, I surprisingly liked watching this, even when I didn't really understand what was going on a lot of the time. This is pretty well animated though, especially the fight scenes, but there are times where the voices are really hard to hear. Overall, it's nice. Becky and the Fourth Wall. A woman from the real world named Becky finds herself stuck in a cartoon. Now she has the amazing power to break the fourth wall. This is a pretty creative idea for a pilot, and I like how Becky utilizes cartoon logic to her advantage. It's pretty cute and silly, and I feel like there's a lot of potential to play with the horror of that situation in future episodes, but I'm not sure if this show would want to take that kind of direction. The ending was pretty interesting too. The Norman Show. Norman's place on the social ladder is jeopardized when a high school house party is gate-crashed by a mysterious visitor from a far-off land. The art style reminds me of Fairly Odd Parents, and overall this is a mostly funny and entertaining pilot, especially the intro. I say mostly because some of the stuff that happens in the latter half is pretty out there. An example of this being a penguin having sex with a teenager off screen, or a guy ripping himself in half. Overall, it's a nice pilot, but by the end of it, it kind of lost me. The audio mixing in general could also use some improvement. Learning with Pibby. This one's an interesting pilot. For those who don't know, Pibby was a show Adult Swim had teased about 4 years ago where something was infecting animated shows and whoever didn't get infected teamed up to fight back. And while the show never got greenlit, the animatic for the pilot episode did get leaked. Cut to about 5 months ago, someone managed to fully animate said animatic, and honestly it looks great. I'm genuinely surprised at how good this is, and this seems like a pretty good way to get better at following boards and animating. So props to this person. It sucks that the show never got greenlit, but at least we have this. FNAF The Bite of 83. Dave has to spend his 8th birthday in a place he hates. His resentful older brother and his friend plot a cruel prank that mocks Davy's fear of the animatronics. His friend, Charlie, has to watch helplessly. This is a really cool depiction of the Bite of 83, and everything about this is great, especially the art. I don't really have much else to say about this considering that this is based off of FNAF, but it's a pretty cool project. Fun Time at Freddy's. Follow the Fazbear Gang, old and new, as they compete against their Fun Time rivals at Circus Baby's Pizza World. Go on adventures and have tons of fun in this FNAF animated series. I'll admit, I didn't enjoy this too much, but the overall art and voice acting is pretty nice, and I like the premise. I also love how they established that Germans are just evil.
It's partly our fault, really. We programmed him with German technology, so technically speaking, he is German. Of course, he was bound to be evil.
I don't think you can say that. Espresso the Cat. Espresso and Camo go and buy a robot from a strange man, and crazy things happen. The voice acting is nice, and so is the art style, but the mouths look a bit weird at times. And with that, we have reached the A-tier pilot, starting with Ghost Machine, an animated analog horror that follows Griffin Peer, a young, aspiring inventor, musician, and ghost hunter. He was born as a goat into a world of humans, leaving him isolated from the outside world. Desperate for answers, him and his older brother April invent a machine that can talk to ghosts as an attempt to contact their deceased father for answers. While on their journey to the location of where their father died, things go terribly wrong, leaving them both stranded and lost deep within the ruins of their father's abandoned factory. Only part 1 of this pilot is done and out, so the last sentence of that premise doesn't happen yet. Spoilers. I'll admit I didn't like the first half of this pilot. The text in the intro plays for too long, the voices are a bit hard to hear, and the VHS effect is a bit too strong. I also just couldn't get into it that much generally, but I started liking it a lot more after the second half, which focuses on Griffin's personal logs. I also like the art style this has, and I think it's got potential to be pretty good. Lumi and the Great Big Galaxy. Lumi and the Great Big Galaxy is an original series about 6 aliens traveling the galaxy to help a lost star return home. First off, this is gorgeous. The pilot switches between rough animations, animatics, and fully animated shots, and they're all really beautiful and well done. The voice acting's great too, and Michael Kovac is also here.
You can't say you didn't try, see?
The character designs are really cute and diverse too, and this was a really nice watch. I'd love to see more of this in the future. Beyond the Stars. A sci-fi pilot where aliens and robots hate each other. EXO and their friends come up with a plan to get them to be friends. The art and animation is really cute and well done. The robotic voices are hard to hear at times, but this is overall a pretty good pilot. It's a bit short, so I don't have much else to say other than I'm intrigued by what caused aliens and robots to hate each other. Crossfire Bullet Rain. In the dystopic nation of Othesia, crime gangs no longer need to work in the shadows. A high-risk, high-reward drug that can awaken special abilities within the user becomes super valuable. It would go on to fuel a conflict between individuals who wish to bring change to the city of Aethervox, each of them being driven by a different cause. I love the art in this, especially the background art. I'd love to take some of these and study them since architecture is still something out of my comfort zone. A lot of the characters follow a monochrome color scheme, and because of that, it's a bit hard to tell them apart, especially with how fast scenes change and how many characters we see. I think if more of them had just a small pop of color, it'd help a lot. The story is also a bit hard to follow, and the dialogue too, especially. There's no voice acting, so there's text on screen instead with almost no variation. Because of that, it's hard to tell who's talking sometimes, and there's a lot of times where the text either clashes with the background, or it's just hard to track. I'd love to see more of this, but I do hope the dialogue at least gets easier to track and differentiate in the future. Escape Space. A sci-fi pilot about the few remaining members of a crew lost in space following a signal sent from their missing captain. This pilot has really great storyboards and voice acting, and it's overall really good. I loved it all the way through. I just wish it went on a bit longer so we could see the crew's reaction from everything that happened, but I hope to see more of this. Bunlith the Witch Upstairs. Join V, the newest resident to an ostensibly average New York apartment, and Beatrix, a transgender hacker girl who lives on the 4th floor, as they use totally real brain interface technology to jump into legally distinct video games where hijinks ensue. I love the art style this has. I'm a sucker for low poly models. This pilot has a lot of style to it, and I love the eye catches too.
The Witch Upstairs. The Witch Upstairs.
It's a really fun watch. I do feel like the middle part dragged on a little bit too long, but I would love to see more of this. Gil Next Door. When Wally gets to be mayor for a day, he and Gil quickly find out they've bitten off more than they can chew. Literally. This is extremely well made and voice acted. Since this was made by Pencilmation, I figured the target audience for this would be kids, and I was expecting it to be a bit boring for me, but this was a really fun watch actually. So I hope more of this gets made. The Afterlife Show. The overly enthusiastic and hopelessly annoying Hector Plasma hosts a disastrously awkward documentary about his dearly departed roommates who haunt the same mansion, while failing miserably at proving that an internal loop of boredom and monotony can actually be fun. The pilot's original language is Portuguese, but there is an English dub for it, and it's really good. The VAs did a great job, and the pilot itself is really silly and charming. I love it a lot, especially the character designs. And Billy. Lexi the Super Fox. This is Woodland County, a town filled with friendly furry folk, and some of the most twisted crooks and supervillains ever known. And amidst all the chaos, a fox named Lexi tries to juggle adult life, family and friends, and her own stretchy powers, all while trying to keep her shady past under wraps. I know I'm probably sounding repetitive at this point, but I love the art style and animation. It reminds me of old cartoons or Newgrounds kind of stuff. The voice acting's nice too, but hearing Rexy Pie over and over again was annoying, fast. Some of the dialogue is a bit cheesy too, but other than that, I really like this. Genre Bound, an adult horror comedy series following 3 gig workers of the post-apocalypse struggling to make ends meet in a world defined by literary genres. I really love the art and character designs in this. They're very diverse and expressive. The voice acting's nice too, but it's way too quiet at times or just inconsistent. Aside from the audio problems, this is really good and funny. I love how much of a little bitch Shakespeare is here. That's a sentence I never would have imagined ever saying in my life, but here we are. The premise also sets up a lot of creative potential for future episodes, so I hope to see more of this. Overclock, a story where the time vessel Jewel Rift escaped from the chamber into a dangerous world where beacons, technology of star power, roams everywhere. However, the stargazers have returned, and they are planning something big that will shake the entire world. What could they possibly be on? I really love the colorful and 3D art style of this. The character designs are cute, but they clash with the backgrounds a lot, and because of that, it's hard to read their motion. Audio mixing could also be better. The voices are either at different volumes or too quiet against the background music. Speaking of the music, I really like that too, and overall this is pretty good, especially for someone's first time at writing and making something like this. Coda and Tabby. Now, hear me out. The art could use some work, and the voices are hard to hear at times, but I surprisingly really like watching this. I watched another episode out of curiosity, and I just kept going, and I've watched a good handful of episodes by now, and it's turned into a bit of a guilty pleasure at this point. I even scribbled up some fan art about a week ago. It surprisingly got 13 episodes now at the time of recording this, and check it out if you can. Lux, what is Coda and Tabby even about? That is an excellent question, dear viewer, and that is something for you to find out on your own. I am simply the messenger. And folks, with that, we have finally reached S tier, aka my top 10 favorites from all of these pilots that I watched. These aren't ordered in any way, I like them all, so with that being said, first thing we got is Blinkomania. We follow Aubrey, a dino girl who gets an obsession with collecting Blinkos until she meets a fellow enthusiastic collector. It's crazy how the way I found out about this pilot is because people on Twitter were thirsting over the dino guy, and I'm not bashing them. I get it. Anyways, this pilot's got 2 songs, and I love them both, especially the second one. Despite this pilot being kind of short, I really enjoyed it, but I do wish the Blinkos went to the Blinko collector and that Aubrey would get the chance to apologize to him. Because of that, the ending wasn't too satisfying for me. I also noticed that all the feminine characters have hair while none of the male ones do, and I find that a little bit weird. Another nitpick I have is that Aubrey looks too humanoid. The only thing that indicates otherwise is her tail. But other than that, this is really cute and very well animated. I hope if this gets more episodes, still have songs, cause I really like that. Knights of Guinevere, a psychological thriller that welcomes you to a planet-wide theme park in the clouds, and the shadows below, where a broken princess android is 2 dreamers' tickets to better lives. Or the end of them. I love this pilot. Everything about it is great, and it's gotten a lot of attention, so because of that, I want to take this as an opportunity to say that it's a bit upsetting how whenever people talk about this pilot, they only mention Dana Terrace as the creator, when this was also co-created by John Bailey Owen and Zach Marcus, who were writers for almost every episode of The Owl House. They've both done work for other shows as well, so I'm really excited to see how the show goes with these 3 leading the way. And I also hope that they get more credit with this stuff in the future. Next up, we've got Mechanic Artwork. It follows a detective sent to Gearman City on a mission to investigate a murder case. Taking place on Central Island, the show intertwines political tensions of its fictional setting with a detective story, featuring the Liberta clan rebels working to overthrow the government, rescuing a secret experiment subject Samuel Woodman using their agenda to further his own revenge plan, and the government militarizing Central Island from paranoia of war with robot machines called protectorates. I think I butchered that, sorry. This pilot is apparently going to be rebooted, which surprised me a lot because it's already really good. It's got great sound design, voice acting, animation, and art direction. Despite working with limited materials, the character designs are pretty good and distinct from each other. If you love stop motion and steampunk, then you will love this pilot a lot, like I did. Pop-Ocalypse. This episode introduces Limpet as she walks into the store. Many hijinks ensue in this crazy city she calls home. I fell in love with this instantly thanks to its aesthetic, music, and voice acting. I'll admit when I finished the pilot, I was a bit disappointed because of how short it was, but I watched all the other episodes and I love it so much. It's really charming and it's the definition of good and chill vibes, so please do check it out. Each episode is only a few minutes, and I think in total the show is 40 minutes long at this point, and I'm just really glad that this is getting more episodes gradually. Support it if you can. Shiftless. Now this one isn't an animated pilot, but it was something that kept popping up in my feed, and I've heard a couple people say it was good, so my interest peaked, and it was not disappointed. This is basically a live-action regular show and feels a lot like old YouTube skit videos. I highly recommend watching this. It's pretty funny and chill, and I like it a lot. Smiley face. There's 2 more episodes out already, and I'm excited to watch them soon. The Three Tomes. A queer YA coming-of story about a black magical girl with witch power, and vampire romance awaits. I love this a lot. The character designs, art, and voice acting in this are great, and I am a bitch for anything fantasy related with a dash of romance. It reminds me a lot of this show I used to watch as a kid called Every Which Way, and yeah, I need 5 seasons and a movie of this now, at my door, now. Loki IRL. In a world where OCs can come to life, artists have their characters fight each other for sport, and Bianca, the protagonist, is trying to get better at it with her character Loki. This has a really fun concept, and it's extremely well animated for someone who hasn't animated before. It's got a great soundtrack, art style, and I'd love to see more of this. The only complaint I have is that Bianca was annoying me a bit near the end, but they stuck the landing with the ending, so good job. The Adam Hendrickson Show. Adam Hendrickson has a unique obsession with the lost Victorian soundtrack. On his first day of high school, he meets an ethereal being named the Storyteller who wants to make his life into a show in exchange for the soundtrack. At the end of the story, I'll admit, I didn't have high expectations for this one because of the art style, length, and the show/main character being named after the creator. But I was pleasantly surprised. I really liked the premise, music, and voice acting, and I loved watching this. It has a really nice message on how you have the potential to do whatever you want so long as you push yourself out of your comfort zone and try out new things. And I really like that. It's genuinely such a sweet pilot, and I love this passion project a lot. Do check it out if you can. It's also got a couple songs, and it's pretty neat. Strawberry Vampire. From the strawberry fields of Strawbania to the fluorescent halls of American middle school, meet Franny Fragaria, a young vampire trying to fit in America, which is awkward, because America is awkward. Real. This one took me by surprise by how good it was, especially the level of quality for being mostly storyboards. Turns out this was made by Emily Brundage and storyboarded by Melissa Shu, who are best known for working on Hilda, which explains why I was getting such strong Hilda vibes while watching this. I really love the character designs and how the vampire family represent immigrants living in America. It's also just really cool to see people who worked in the animation industry make their own pilots on YouTube. Do send some love if you can. And finally, last but certainly not least, is El Guapo versus the Narco Vampires. The pilot follows El Guapo, an orphan who became a well-known wrestler with his brother, until one night he made a deal with the Narco Vampires. Tragedy strikes, and now he's teamed up with allies to take down the vampires. This was the last pilot I watched, and I'm so happy I saved this for last because, wow, it's amazing. I was worried with how long it was I'd get bored, but I was entertained the whole way through. The story was genuinely heart-wrenching, and everything about this is great. The animations, storyboards, voice acting, and character designs too. The whole thing looked like it was done by professionals as well, and apparently this was made by the director of The Book of Life, which is a movie I love a lot. Please do check it out if you haven't already, and I hope this can get more episodes in the future. But with that being said, that is every single pilot of 2025. After watching all of these, I expected to be tired from watching anything for a while, But this project has surprisingly made me want to engage with art even more. Seeing all of these artists of different skill ranges from inexperienced to professionals making stuff like this on YouTube, a place where anyone can watch it, is really beautiful. And I think it's something we all take for granted. It's easy to sit down and watch something, but to dedicate yourself into making stuff like this is really cool. And I'm honestly a bit jealous. I want to see more stuff like this, and from now on, I'll be making more of an effort to engage with indie animation. I've already got more pilots saved to watch later, and I'm looking forward to it. If there's one thing I want you as the viewer to take away from this video, whether you're a fellow artist or just a casual viewer, I want you to make an effort to always fill your life with art, whether it be by making something yourself or engaging with it. Never stop creating and never stop enjoying. Thank you to those who have waited this long for part 2, and thank you so much to my friends who have helped me along the way. With my second semester of university ending soon, I'll have a lot more free time to work on videos and other projects of mine. If you'd like to support the channel, it'd mean a lot if you could subscribe or check out my Patreon. Every month I upload a video on there where I talk more about how certain videos were made and just what I'm working on without any script. These are then uploaded publicly a month later to my secret second channel. I'm not telling you the name though, you'll have to find that out yourself. So do consider supporting the channel in any way you can. Your support means a lot, and thank you for reaching the end of this video. I hope you all have a great day or night wherever you are, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye. I miss saying that, it's been way too long. Oh, and also, my next video is going to be about Trigon Stargaze. I cannot wait to tear into that hot garbage, so stick around for that if you can.